Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace, mercy, and blessings of God be upon you. This is another presentation from www.central-mosque.com and from the Humble Heart YouTube channel about why should you follow ulama or Islamic scholars. If you're having trouble keeping up with me, simply switch on the subtitles or closed captions, and the button looks like this in this video. This video is a synthesis of my research being presented in a coherent, methodical manner, but it is merely my opinion, and you have every right to disagree. But disagree with facts. A Muslim, by definition, is someone who accepts the commandments of one God and the teachings of his last prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. For Muslims, it is categorically stated in the Quran, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask the people of knowledge when you do not know. So the issue is settled and the case is closed for anyone who believes the Quran to be guidance. They have to resort to ulama or Islamic scholars for religious guidance. Let's now look at the issue logically. Many people confuse intelligence, life experience with known and recognized expertise. You could be an extremely intelligent person. You could have watched thousands of heart surgeries in person. Thus, you may know a lot about heart surgery. Does not make you a heart surgeon. Also, in our times, people equate popularity with expertise. There are people with thousands of followers on social media. Some may have even millions of subscribers on YouTube. When you search the video, it may be top ranked in terms of popularity, but it doesn't make it factual, credible, or the person behind it an expert. An expert in one field isn't an expert in another. A top engineer isn't a top doctor, and vice versa. On many Islamic platforms, those trying to speak authoritatively on Islam with a PhD in social sciences are not Islamic scholars. They may be the best in their fields and they may also put forth a convincing logical argument, but they're not scholars. This is my favorite part of the presentation. I know Maulana Ahmad Sarkar, who lives in Batley, UK, and I speak to him all the time. Maulana taught in a Darul Uloom for over 21 years, and yet he doesn't know how to update his phone or replace the cartridge in his printer. He calls me on these basic things when he needs help. Does that make him a novice in his own field of expertise? What does knowing how to change printer cartridges has to do with teaching Hanafi madhab? If he ever needs to talk about the topic of printer cartridges, I'm sure that he will say that he's a novice and knows next to nothing about it. If your 7-year-old knows how to change the printer cartridge, does that make your 7-year-old an expert on Hanafi madhab? Also, access to information doesn't make someone an expert either. You can browse the internet and come across people who have plenty of references in their works, but their basic understanding of the subject, let alone conclusions, are dead wrong. In Islam, your journey to knowledge starts with humility and acceptance that you don't know. Before you're writing thesis for your PhD, you will do a literature review of the research others have done in your field. Without being at a level to understand it, you may potentially kill someone from your faulty understanding. Without humility, you're just not an ignoramus, you're a pompous ignoramus. We often hear of news of scandals in medical fields, unfortunate incidents of abuse. How do you react? Do you give up on the entire medical profession altogether? Or do you become careful in selecting a doctor? So if you have heard or come across an Islamic scholar who's been guilty of a crime, why do you throw away the entire academic standing of Islamic scholarship? Why do you taint all Islamic scholars with the same brush? I personally know a qualified Islamic scholar who drinks all night and then shows up and leads the Fajr prayer in the mosque in his community, and his community is none the wiser. When you speak to him, he will quote you evidence from the Quran and the Sunnah, but every night you may find him on the dance floor of a club in his city. So let me tell you this, you need to be careful with whom you choose for advice. Now let's briefly cover why people make mistakes and get hurt. There are two ways of seeking assistance from Allah to make decisions, and they're istikhara and shura. Istikhara is a certain prayer which you read, and shura literally means consultation. Istikhara is mentioned in various traditions of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and shura or consultation is a direct command of Allah to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wa amruhum shura bainahum. Simply put, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was commanded by Allah to consult with his companions directly in the Quran. Thus, to make shura or consult is a divinely established practice in Islam as praying or fasting, etc., and it is superior to istikhara. The first step of making a mistake in making decisions is not knowing that. The second step is not knowing whom to consult. You should consult a person who's an expert in the field and wishes you well. A crude example: two brothers want to marry the same sister. Why in the world would you want to consult him on the issue when he's interested in the same sister? That's just silliness. Third step is that expert needed for your issue may not be an Islamic scholar at all. You may need someone who's an expert in some other field than theology or fiqh. I can tell you that errors are happening on both sides. People are consulting those who are not experts in the fields or areas in which you're asking them. And those who are not experts are not admitting their lack of knowledge or experience, they're simply winging it. It could be that you need someone with experience of whatever area you need guidance on. Doesn't mean this person is academically qualified, but they have experience in some field. Lastly, and many people may find this hard, I subscribe to the Islamic scholars that you cannot be a mufti under the age of 40 in many instances. You may have a piece of paper from an institute which states that you're a mufti, but without life experience, knowledge of your society and customs, tact and wisdom, you're not a mufti. Shaykh al-Islam Mufti Taqi Usmani Hafidhahullah Ta'ala does not like his students to use the title mufti, although their graduation certificates may say so. So if you're sending random emails to a site around the world or getting responses on WhatsApp from someone and then paying the price of dreadful decisions in your life, then it could be that your choices are wrong. So I request of you to get your act together before your choices lead you to make decisions which you will regret. Let me take you back to this verse of the Quran. Allah commanded Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to consult his companions. Who are you not to consult others? The difference is the same Quran which teaches you to consult others, also through the example of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his companions, shows us that you should consult the people who are experts in your area and sincere. Either people are not consulting or consulting the wrong people. Either of those mistakes will lead you to dreadful consequences in your life. May Allah Ta'ala protect us all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.